Hey guys, midweek energy check-in, week 1 of December 2023. What do we have going on? Well, today we have some pretty significant astrology playing out. We have Neptune stationing direct in the sky. This is going to put a major emphasis on everything Neptunian. You may find that you have some pretty low energy levels today. It could be a very dreamy day. Life may sort of feel like a walking daydream to some extent. I will tell you guys, this is energy where nothing is real, but anything and everything is possible. This particular Neptune direct, because of the other transits associated with it and what's going on with the moon and sort of where we're at now in the general unfolding cosmic blueprint, I do feel like is indicating also some type of spiritual awakening that could really be altering perhaps some of our beliefs going forward. Lots and lots of stuff to talk about today, you guys. Wonderful manifestation energy. Do not imagine your fears into reality, though. Let's get into our report of the day. Let's talk about it in some more detail. All of this Neptunian stuff going on today, and what are the other aspects associated with them, and what can we expect as we move through today and the rest of the week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. If you guys stick with me until the end of the report, I have also done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field for more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy assessments, because I like to just get an alternative perspective, what's playing out on an energetic level, get a more holistic, rounded overall view. So there could be some messages in there for you as well that's happening at the end of this video. To start this video, let's get right into talking about this Neptune energy, which is the dominant theme today, of course, and moving through the rest of the week. As I mentioned in my intro, whenever a planet stations in its motion in the sky, this puts an extra emphasis on the energy and the themes and the archetypes and all that type of stuff of that particular planet, amplifies it like tenfold. So Neptune being the planet that is stationing today, that lets us know that we are going to be dealing with some very strong Piscean, Neptunian themes that are probably just like greater than normal part of our tangible experience. Of course, Neptune being the planet that rules the invisible world and that which is unseen and that which is intangible. The veil, I will say, between the invisible and the visible, the spiritual world and the physical world, is very, very thin right now. This is like sort of like a mystical, spiritual high point energetically all year. And on one hand, ultimately, I feel like this particular Neptune retrograde, Neptune station, because of the way that the planets are placed while Neptune stations, are indicating that some type of powerful and transformative awakening from some type of an illusion or spell or, slumber or dream are likely to accompany whatever is coming forth in this Neptune energy. Now, of course, Neptune also, it is the daydream, it is the dream, it is the illusion, it is the fog. So the energy, that we are moving through and that we're existing within today, specifically on Wednesday, but moving through the rest of the week, is likely to be a very dreamy energy. We might find it hard to really get ourselves moving. You may find that you really just sort of are in the mood to not do much, to maybe take an extended nap, to just kind of lay on the couch. Also getting caught in some type of fantasy somehow, like a story or, a movie or a show or something like that. Very likely tendency in this energy, but I'll tell you guys, this is powerful manifestation energy. This is magical energy as well. While Neptune energy operates in a lot of octaves, and I will say, personally, I am not necessarily always the biggest fan of the Neptunian influence. There is a very magical way that this energy can operate, especially along the lines of helping us to actually, translate some of our dreams into reality. However, there is this other octave of the Neptune energy, which is extremely deceptive, very illusory, you know what I mean? It's all about projection and, narratives and overlays and, things not being as they truly are. So there's likely to be, in Pisces, this is a very dualistic sign. The glyph itself is two fish swimming in opposite directions. It's, it's got a lot of the actually kind of some of the similar themes as Gemini energy in terms of the polarities that it can represent. And like I said, the very dualistic qualities of the sign. So we are likely to see maybe even some extremes of both sides of the Neptunian energy present right now. Both, maybe some very big or grandiose like illusions or overlays or projections or like stories, you know what I mean? Simultaneously, this like awakening, this like seeing the cracks in the facade, this like coming, like breaking the spell type of energy as well. There's a huge informational component also, and the polarity or the polarization we may find ourselves coming up against between like these themes and these concepts of the Pisces Virgo axis. Okay, Neptune ruling Pisces in the sign of Pisces stationing, but we also have a Virgo moon who happens to come into exact opposition with Neptune in his station at 12 a.m. on the dot, opening this day of December 6th. And so with the moon in the sign of Virgo facing off, opposing, reflecting on this Piscean Neptunian energy, this is bringing into context the polarity of the Virgo Pisces energy, which is, fact versus fiction, fantasy versus reality, truth versus illusion. And it actually can be expanded further than that. And we're going to talk about this as we get through this report. But the placement of that Virgo moon in the opposition to Neptune and Pisces is actually also telling us a lot about what the greater purpose of this energy might be and how it may ultimately be functioning in our experiences. And that is because not only is the moon forming the exact opposition to Neptune in Pisces while Neptune stations at 12 a.m. on the 6th opening this day, but the moon is also forming a trine to both Uranus in the sign of Taurus and Capricorn in the sign of Virgo. So we've got a grand Earth trine going on with, Capricorn or Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. So we've got a grand Earth trine going on with Uranus in Taurus, the moon in Virgo, Pluto in Capricorn. That trine, if we take Neptune out of it and we're just looking at that Earth trine right there, that's an Earth trine. So it's happening in Earth signs. When energy is functioning in Earth signs, it's things tangibly happening in the reality on the ground. It's the 3D physical nature of things being coming to fruition somehow on an energetic level when we're dealing with Earth signs. And this is an Earth sign trine. We're talking about Uranus, the planet of awakening to truth of value and potential. And we're talking about Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. This is power, this is transformation, and it's also breaking down the rigid structures that have in frameworks of the past to make way for some type of evolution into something like new and purified and refined and regenerated in some type of way. And then of course moon in Virgo is all about like the informational component of things, the mental component of things, understanding things, and the detail oriented of nature of things that help them come into a more perfect form that they can be of practical use somehow. So when we're talking about this trine with these planets in this, like these particular signs, without bringing in Neptune, the Neptunian influence, which is really the whole story of the things today, that moon aspect in and of itself is talking about information that is awakening us somehow, that is triggering some type of very like deep or powerful transformation that is moving us from, a structure or a framework that we once existed in, but that which had become too limiting, and like helping us to grow, expand, evolve, and regenerate ourselves somehow. That is what that Earth trine with the moon, Uranus, Pluto, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn is translating into each month as we go through this, and it's not exact right now. Pluto is at the 28 Capricorn, Uranus is at 20 degrees of Taurus, and the moon in opposition to Neptune will be at 24 degrees of Virgo. So there's a couple degree orb on each side, and each month as the moon lately has been transiting the sign of Virgo, it's been activating this grand earth trine. So this has been like a gradual process that's been happening internally, but that will have physical results, and that has been going on this past couple of months. And right now I feel like this cycle, this time around, for the moon to be hitting that exact degree range in exact opposition to Neptune, on the one day where he's technically like when he's stationing in the sky. Neptune is the dream. Neptune is the illusion, right? Neptune is the belief systems that have perhaps kept us in a state of disempowerment or surrendering power somehow out of any lack of recognition of the truth of the value and the worth and the resources and potential that we hold within. You see what I'm talking about? So it's like, there could be some serious spiritual awakening, which is really what all that boils and translates down into for me, that is accompanying this Neptune direct energy as it's coming together right now, as a function, all right, of the moon placement in association with the timing of how these transits are all coming together. Now, another very important thing about this particular Neptune station, it's happening at what I feel like is a Sabian symbol that is very exemplary of sort of like the macrocosm moment that we're in generally in terms of the unfolding of the cosmic blueprint as it is, coming into fruition at this point in time. Neptune is stationing, as I said, at 24 something minutes, degrees something minutes of Pisces. But when we read the Sabian symbols, as you guys know, we round up a degree because we read the incoming wave of energy, not the wave of energy that's waning out, that's dissipating, that we're moving away from. So we're gonna, when we symbolically interpret the placement of Neptune for Neptune station, we're looking at 25 degrees of the sign of Pisces in terms of the Sabian symbol. That Sabian symbol, you guys, is the purging of the priesthood. And to me, this particular symbol of all the symbols in all the 360 degrees of the zodiac is the quintessential sort of like where we're at right now in our shift of ages, in the unfolding cosmic blueprint, in this great revolution that is upon us, whether or not we're perceiving that right now. That is the energy that we are moving into over this next couple of years as we really begin to solidify the age of Aquarius energy that's coming in. And for that to be the degree where this particular planet is stationing in the context of the other aspects as well, and all that I just got done explaining with the Uranus angle and with the Pluto angle and, the Capricorn and the Taurus and the Virgo, the informational aspect of things. Something about our belief systems is changing or evolving, and we're being released from an old dimension of our experience somehow. Some type, like I said, of a spiritual awakening in sort of like the highest order, I feel like is being represented by the energy as it's coming through right now. On a macrocosm level, I feel like we are likely between, now and especially moving into 2024, I do feel like we're going to see some majorly shifting power dynamics, rooting out maybe like evil or corruption or the inversion of that which presents itself to be something, you know what I mean? Like, this is the type of energy where wolves in sheep's clothing are not going to be allowed to perpetuate, where hypocrisy in the highest levels, in the highest orders, is not going to withstand, and where the new like leadership that comes into fruition now is going to have to be governed by an alliance with like a higher power and a greater level of integrity and authentic expression of divine truth. Like, we're moving into the age of Aquarius, and anything that is inverting potential and anything that is inverting the process of organic growth and development right now in alignment with humanity's conscious awakening and evolution is no longer going to be able to cast the spells or, project the images that were the disguise or the facade, the wolves in sheep's clothing, like up until this point in time, where that type of thing really may have been a successful tactic in the past. We have reached an energetic turning point where I do believe moving forward, I do also think that this energy is going to help us to see through the masks and to see through illusions and to see through deception, perhaps, in maybe a way that we had not been able to up until this point in time. Like, it's just a Virgo moon with the Earth trine, Pisces or the Capricorn, Pluto, Uranus, powerful awakening that's giving us an ability to understand and to have like an accurate perception despite the cloud and the fog and the mist and the illusion and, the fantasy or whatever it is. So, and this is also representing, in this energy, like, true spiritual connection is very possible as well. And like true divine inspiration and true sort of just like higher knowing and relating to our higher selves. This can also be a very compassionate, very empathetic energy. But also, whenever we're talking about Neptune, we're going to want to stay out of, all of these complexes, okay? A God complex, a savior complex, a martyr complex, and a victim complex. All of these can be downfalls of strong Neptunian energy. But, the highlight of this energy is what we're going to move into talking about next, which is the ability that we have so strong right now to imagine reality into existence, essentially. Feelings coming into like literal being, dreaming things into being, into reality. This is probably one of the best days of the whole year to meditate on or visualize what you want to feel and want to create in your life moving forward. Imagining ideal scenarios with no attachment to like how it happens or when it happens. This is the energy where we can seed our inner vision, through our mind's eye deeply into our unconscious subconscious mind and like communicate to our subconscious mind what our subconscious mind then needs to work with reality to bring into existence. This is energy where we can literally like program our reality if we can. First of all, the one thing that we are going to really want to stay away from doing in this energy, and we are also in a bit of black moon energy too. So, our fears, worries, insecurities, doubts may kind of be like trying to get a hold of us. However, we do also have a lot of Jupiter energy right now and a lot of more positive, uplifting energy. So I don't feel like this particular black moon cycle is necessarily weighing as heavily on us as some of the other ones that we've been dealing with the black moon transiting Virgo. I don't feel like that's as much of an issue in the energy right now. But regardless, because this is such potent manifestation energy, we do not want to allow ourselves to get caught up in imagining or feeling like our fears, okay, our worries, what we don't want. This is fantastic energy to like play make-believe, okay? Like go back, it's very like child-hearted type of energy. When we're dealing with Pisces vibes, this is a very like natural innocence, like the inner child has a tendency of sort of like running free when there's a strong Piscean energy, and it really embodies the idea of like the childish like game of make-believe, okay? And if we can do that in this energy, it's a powerful tool. It's being a magician actually in terms of helping ourselves to actually, program that sentiment, that make-believe version of reality into our psyche in such a way that it can tangibly manifest. And I'll tell you guys why. There's a strong Saturn influence today as well that is literally talking about being able to, ground some beautiful things into reality moving forward. But, as I said, make believe, fake it till you make it, believe in all of the possibilities, be delusional in this energy to the extent that it is making you better or making your life better, believe in yourself. Like these are positive ways to use this energy. Again, we don't want to overemphasize our victimhood, and we don't want to we don't want to be the martyr in situations, which is another way this energy can, strongly operate. But, if we are willing to believe that anything is possible and to work for it as well, I'm telling you guys, like, this is seeding energy for making our manifestations or what we want to bring into reality come true. Today is the day to dream the dream, okay? To program our subconscious mind through an ability to sort of like live in that fantasy of that which it is that we want to create. However, we need to keep in mind, okay, like just like how small children play, when they are going through their process of playing make-believe and stuff, they're not doing it because, they're trying to get some type of outcome. They're doing it just for the simple joy of being able to experience that reality in that moment through that field of imagination. Now, the difference is, in terms of wanting to actually bring those, those desires or those images or those ideals into creation, there's the flip side of the manifestation coin after we've sort of rooted the vision into our unconscious, is acting our faith, is moving forward after, this moment in time when things sort of start to rematerialize and the veil is not quite so thin and maybe we can't get into the imagination flow so easily. We need to move forward with the knowledge that, maybe it won't happen today or maybe it won't happen tomorrow, but when the time is right, that reality is going to come into existence for us. But the other side of that coin, right, is us becoming the person that lives that reality. So between now and whenever that manifestation materializes for us, it's our job to each day, change ourselves or grow or learn or do whatever work needs to be done to become the person that reality is in alignment with. So whatever the gap is between where we're at and our current reality and who we are now and the reality that we have envisioned in our mind's eye and that which we want to create and the person that we need to be in order to experience that version of life and that version of reality, like that's our task in the meantime while we're waiting for God, spirit, universe, and the magic of this reality to do its thing and to, bring our manifestation into fruition. Because if we are not the person that resonates and vibrates to that version of reality that we wish to create, then they won't be a match and we can't, it's not going to all come together. So there's two sides of the manifestation coin: the visualizing, the programming the unconscious, the communicating essentially like to God, spirit, universe. I feel like the unconscious is like our direct line to God. And when we can get in that state, that brain state where we are able to really, imagine, visualize, use our mind's eye in such a way to really get into the unconscious mind, it's like that is like how the strings or the threads of reality get woven together according to like whatever we're communicating to our higher self or to a higher power or to God through that telephone line of our unconscious mind. But the other side of that then is that we've got to believe that it is possible. We've got to believe that it is real. We've got to believe that we're moving towards that. And we've got to do the actual work to prepare ourselves for that experience. If you want a new relationship, if you want the love of your life, you have to be, you've got to believe it, okay? You've got to be able to feel what that would feel like. And you also have to become the person that person would want to be with. If you want a new home, you've got to, know what you want. You've got to know what it looks like. You've got to have a good idea of what would be your ideal situation in terms of that. You got to believe that it's possible for yourself and, start doing little things to prepare for that process and become the person all the way around that lives in that environment. The same thing could be said for, some type of job or some type of career. You got to become the type of person, you got to become the person that excels at whatever that is. And then through your ability to communicate with universe, through, visualizing, mind's eye, all that stuff, this is how, and then acting the faith and working, doing what you can do to make yourself that person. That is the best way to consciously create our reality. And that is honestly, like, as we move forward into the age of Aquarius, where conscious creation of our reality is going to become just like a more conscious, prominent experience that people are using to live their life. These are the things that we actually, I feel like, should be practicing. Not allowing our subconscious mind to program our life the way that it has perhaps up until now, rather programming our subconscious mind to give us the life that we consciously desire. I feel like that's the flip, that's the switch. Also, in terms of this trine and earth signs that I've been talking about, this awakening from the dream in a way that is very transformative, the purging of the priesthood, release from past beliefs that maybe have kept us disempowered. This to me is also translating into that same concept of gaining a greater sense of conscious control over our experiences through gaining an awareness of how to use our unconscious mind and how to create in this reality. And the energy that we have coming through today on Wednesday, moving through the rest of the week, exemplary of the power of magic and manifestation in this dimension, in this reality, if used properly. Nothing is real when we're talking about Neptune energy, yet anything and everything is possible. The magic for sure is in the air. This whole month of December, if you guys watched my December overview, I was talking about how, this whole month of December is just a really magical month. Unbound creative potential, divine inspiration that's really coming through for us this week. There could also be some important or significant dreams going on. Pay attention to your dreams. Dream journals also in this, it is a very mystical energy. It's like a yogi energy type of situation vibe out there for sure. Physical exertion is not the vibe right now. Again, like, people are probably going to feel like generally like taking it easy, and there's probably going to be just kind of like we're probably going to find ourselves also like questioning a lot as this whole dynamic of energy comes through. It's also interesting because I've talked a lot about this grand trine and earth signs that is accompanying this Neptune station. And of course, I haven't mentioned that while the moon is forming the grand trine and earth between Pluto and Uranus, that also therefore puts both Pluto and Uranus sextile to Neptune in the sign of Pisces, stationing, which is also energy that has been ongoing over this past couple months and is, giving the sort of the same effect of awakening. Neptune, or Uranus, is the planet of awakening. Neptune is the dream. Pluto is, power, transformation, death, and rebirth. So some type of, powerful, ongoing awakening in regards to dissolving or destroying some type of an illusion that we've been under that has been operating as the framework of our reality up until this point of time, and that is breaking us out of the previous matrix, and that is bridging us out of the previous age and era and into this age of Aquarius, awakening from some type of powerful spell that we've been under, perhaps also on some type of macrocosm or collective level. There could be weird stories going on, weird narratives sort of in the news, projections. Mental illness could be definitely a big thing that people are struggling with in this Neptunian energy. We're talking again about the Pisces Virgo axis. This could really be messing with people's minds. Cognitive dissonance and projection could be some issues, like not being able to accept the truth of things. People could really be struggling with that type of things as well. Neptune is, of course, the overlay, the illusion, the fog, the confusion, the disorientation, the projection. So people could definitely just sort of be caught again in between sort of like fantasy and reality, fact and fiction, truth and illusion today, and having a hard time deciphering maybe like what is real and what is not. But again, this is also, anything is possible, magic in the air, and the dream into reality type of situation. I will tell tell you guys, aside, and I started to say this in a minute, and then or a minute ago, but then I got sidetracked. I've talked a lot about this grand trine that we had going on in earth signs with the moon in Virgo, Pluto in Capricorn, Uranus in Taurus, and then the sextile with Neptune there, stationing direct with both. But the moon in Virgo, you guys, is ruled by Mercury. So Mercury is actually playing a role today as well. Mercury being the mind. Mercury is also in an earth sign trine right now with Jupiter. This is the planet of expansion. So, and it's also wisdom. It's also truth. So even like playing into that Virgo moon, which is all about the information and the understanding and the details and the perspective and the reality fact side of things that is up against the Neptunian, you know, illusion side of things that could really be breaking down in this energy, or just could be prominent in this energy for some reason. Some type of big news or big idea or big information or broadened perspective or something freeing our mind or something like that with the Mercury Jupiter trine is responsible for, is playing into the moon Virgo energy that is opposite Neptune, that is in the trine to Pluto and Uranus. So it's just like some type of knowing or big news or like an idea or just like an expanded understanding of something, purging of the priesthood, like breaking, like purging, purifying, releasing us from maybe belief systems of the past, again, that had kept us in a state of disempowerment or lack of recognition of like the truth of our value, worth, and potential, like sleeping on ourselves for some reason. Okay, but you know, that being said, lower octaves of Neptune energy, especially with the Mercury Jupiter component of things and the moon in the sign of Virgo in opposition, there could also be energy today moving through this week that is like heavily geared towards kind of like extreme or like overt narcissism and grandiosity, people believing that they are God. Okay, also people that, you know, have a tendency towards any type of maybe like manic behavior or, you know, God complex just in regular energy. You might want to just steer clear of that a bit and not take especially this type of thing too seriously right now. Again, as I mentioned earlier, these complexes could be coming up in this energy, especially with the Virgo moon ruled by Mercury in the trine to Jupiter, and sort of all month as well. There is this tendency towards a very overblown like view of like self-importance and the self and stuff like that, and the personal knowledge and stuff like that. So, you know, God complexes, again, like with the Neptune influence as well, like savior, martyr, victim complexes. All of these could be really manifesting in some like serious just, you know, bold ways, I guess we could say, prominent ways, with the Neptune energy running so strong right now and the Mercury Jupiter trine that is expanding all of that. And don't forget also, we have the Sun and Mars right now also in the sign of Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, which, you know, on one hand, this is going to be a very uplifting month, the month of December. Like, we're going to gain a lot of self-confidence. We're probably going to be feeling pretty good. People are going to be, you know, feeling quite generous and open-minded and jovial. But the Jupiter energy can also go way over the top about stuff, and people are also going to be, like I said, very like grandiose and like manic about stuff, and like the God complex situation is probably going to be a thing that people are dealing with. And then in the Neptune vibe, also the other three: victim, martyr, savior. Okay, so we don't want to go into the complexes, but to rather be the conscious creator in our own reality through applying the principles of manifestation, which I've talked a whole lot about in this video, working with and acknowledging the magic of the energy at this point in time to bring our dreams into reality, trusting that process and becoming the person that fits that dream, as the universe right now is also calling us to activate destiny, to step into our higher purpose, to reconnect with our higher selves. And that is also what is being supported in this energy. We are really being assisted. If we use this energy in the higher octaves, we're really being assisted right now to help move towards some, like, you remember, I always talk about this. The North Node is transiting the sign of Aries right now. The North Node is the destiny point. We have a personal mission. We have a personal destiny. We have some type of like active redefinition of self in alignment with an authentic truth and purpose that we're being called towards over this next year and a half while the nodes are transiting Aries and Libra. We're detaching ourselves from who we used to be in order to become who we are meant to be. And the energy that is represented, I feel like, by this Neptune station today, if we use it properly, it can help to facilitate our movement forward in that direction. So very magical period of time. Don't make commitments, you guys. Don't make deals. Don't sign contracts. As I said, nothing is real in this energy, but anything is possible. It's weird. Like, the things that we are like trying to make happen in the reality right now are likely not to work out, not to come to anything, sort of just like fall apart or crumble. But the things that we are imagining and thinking about and dwelling on and like dreaming about right now, like those are the things that are likely to come into creation. We also have an exact Venus-Saturn trine that is playing out in the energy on Wednesday as well. That's another like manifestation vibration. Venus is, you know, beauty and art, and Saturn is like form and stability, and these two together also have the ability to like create something that is solid and that is stable, especially in terms of like relationship dynamics that are, you know, that we're imagining into creation. It's like whatever divine inspiration is coming through this Venus Saturn influence in water signs, the emotions that it's evoking within us, we have an ability to root and stabilize in our reality to create some type of beautiful vision that we have for ourselves. So that's another component of just everything coming together today to support this process of manifestation in alignment with our higher selves and a greater level of destiny or purpose that is trying to activate through us at this point in time. So, you know, connect to or channel this divine inspiration today. Activate, recognize, connect with your higher self or higher power. Best way to use the energy. Don't get caught in the complexes, or just take a really long nap and you'll probably have some really good dreams. Also a good way to use this energy today. So that's what I have to say about the astrology, you guys. Let's talk about the tarot for a minute. In terms of the tarot message that's coming out, we've got a very sort of straightforward to the point message today. It is talking about coming to the end of a cycle of feeling like we weren't enough maybe in some way, or not recognizing our potential. It's funny, you know, I was talking about how this energy has a lot to do with like waking us up to where we've been sleeping on ourselves, where we've been sleeping on our own potential, where we've been not like recognizing, you know, what we hold within us or what our true value is, perhaps as a result maybe of some belief system that has prevented us from seeing ourselves that way, something like that. But the cards today are literally talking about like, we've got the Five of Pentacles in reverse and the Nine of Pentacles. That's Five of Pentacles in reverse is like releasing a state of victimhood. Anywhere we have felt, you know, cast out, or like we weren't enough, or like we didn't have what it took, or, you know, we felt betrayed or abandoned, or just like not good enough in some type of a way. Literally being replaced with a sentiment that we're capable of doing whatever we need to do in order to take care of ourselves. The Nine of Pentacles is like the self-made woman. This is the individual that can create and provide and generate for themselves and is not beholden to the expectations or, you know, any type of attachment with like codependent relationship with anybody else in order to get what they need to be in their state of wholeness. And so this is a very good indication that, you know, we are going maybe from some place of lack of recognition of value and potential within us to a very strong acknowledgement of that, to the point of actually becoming the embodiment of that, which is also what energy is working to like move us towards right now. North Node in the sign of Aries, like finding our purpose, activating our destiny, releasing ourselves from any state of victimhood, also with Chiron currently translating the sign of Aries as well. And again, this Neptune direct influence, like we are not the victim. We don't need to sacrifice ourselves. We don't need to surrender dimensions of our own selves and our own uniqueness and our own talents, gifts, ability, or power in order to South Node in the sign of Libra, like keep the peace with somebody else, or like maintain like our role in the group or something like that. It's time to, you know, discover our true personal value and move forward in cultivating that. And, you know, through that process, come to find how much more of a fulfilling experience of life we can truly have. The other cards that we have coming out, the World and the Ace of Wands, ending a cycle where we have not recognized the truth of our value, worth, potential, and therefore allowed ourselves to be, you know, the purging of the priesthood, to be, you know, overpowered or controlled or victimized in some type of way. Not happening anymore because we're discovering the value within. And then the Ace of Wands, this is the card of creative potential, the ability to manifest through like the creative planes. Okay, and that's also what we're talking about. All is possible. Anything is possible. We have the energy to do it. The cycle of perceiving ourselves as not having that is coming to an end right now, and the dream that we are waking up from, the cards under that, you know, the Empress and the Ten of Pentacles, the truth of our value, worth, and potential, and ability to create that which is in alignment with divine image and divine potential and purpose, and will bring us true fulfillment in this experience as our soul evolves through time and space and consciousness and dimensions. So that's what the tarot cards are saying, you guys. Let's grab one more card now. Synchronicity card, word of advice, God, Spirit, Universe. What do we need to know? What will help us as we move through this energy? What would be something good to keep in mind? What's a good mantra for us as the Neptune energy works its magic? Come on. Okay, we've got one. It says, don't help too much. We just got this card the other day too. This must be like a relevant theme right now. These ought ye to have done, and not to leave undone. Luke 11:42. It is fine and good to help another, but do not leave undone the job of giving him the wisdom to become aware of the powers of his mind. That's so funny. Like, that's so much of what I've been talking about in this report today, is the way that we need to use our mind at this point in time to, you know, facilitate our own ability to create what we want to receive and experience. Do not fail to teach him that with knowledge of the power of God, he will never do without a roof over his head, a meal, or any other thing that he desires when he learns to use the power of his mind. Help given too easily robs one of his self-respect. The best way to help another is to teach him to stand on his own 2 feet. Teach another of God and the source of all supply. Then you will have given him the best help possible. Teach him to look to God for help, which, I don't know, I just feel like this is super relevant, because that was honestly sort of like my intention with this video, was to talk about how we can all use this energy to, you know, create what we need and what we want, like through the power of our own minds and of our own, you know, mind's eye and our imaginative faculties. So I feel like, you know, maybe, you know, going through life and experience over the next couple of days being maybe a reflection of how to channel higher power into creation right now is the best way that we can use this energy. So don't help too much, you guys, but, you know, maybe lead by example in terms of how you are interacting and using your mind at this point in time. So that's what I gotta say, and that's the message from the stars, message from the cards. I hope you guys liked it. If you did like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you guys, share it with your friends if you think that they would be interested in this type of astrology content as well. Leave me comments. I really appreciate your comments, your feedback, you guys. I love knowing what's going on out there with you. If you're having experiences that match up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know in my comment section below. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group where I post those images in my description box below. Come back with me on Friday, you guys. We are gonna have our closing out this week energy update, talk about all that we have going on, and there could be some big news coming at us over the weekend. We have Mercury and Jupiter coming into a trine, and I'll be here to talk about it. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. I will see you next time, guys. Until then, have a beautiful day, and bye.